And we're rolling. So today we're going to talk about rulership, something called dignities. Rulership, when a planet is in its home sign, when it's in its detriment, when it's exalted, and when it's in its fall. So those things confuse me for a while because there's no, well, there's a pattern, but you got to know what is it. But when you look at them, you go, it's not always the same, and there's a reason for it. I'm not sure if I'll get into that part totally because it goes back on how wise early astrologers were. You know, they looked at, you know, the planets were diurnal, rising, where's my notes here? Rising before the sun, and then diurnal. This is definitely something to look at, rising after the sun sets. So there we go, that's what I was looking for. So getting these things, they had to see and notice and watch and put things together, and it's just amazing what people deduced, the early astrologers. So without any further ado, let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen. Share. Okay, and I'm going to start just at the end of this, just so you can see this, and then I'll go over it, and we'll learn why, kind of. Maybe I'll do a deeper one on the why and the esotericness behind this, but this is good just to get in your head. Okay, this is the chart, the table of essential dignities and debilities, and this it's kind of old worldy, but it really gets the right meaning across. So every planet and the sun and moon has a place that it is called the rulership, that it is at where it rules. It's like its home. It's like your home. You feel comfortable in your home. It's a certain way that you like it. You've got your stuff in a certain way. You can keep things order or not. It's your home. You feel comfortable. The pictures, the colors, where it's located, you know, it's your home. Now, that is the rulership. So we're going to look at the sun. Its home, it feels the most comfortable. It rules, I should say Leo, it's ruled by the sun. And then if we have the moon, it's comfortable in the sign of Cancer. That's it, rules Cancer, moon together. Now Mercury, because this is based on traditional rulership where you're looking at the planets that you can see with the naked eye, you know, you can't see anything past Saturn. So, and a lot of them weren't discovered early on, and there's just, there's layers of meaning, but we're going to use them both, and I'm going to show you the traditional way, how it all rolled out. So Mercury is the closest to the sun, and it rules Gemini and Mercury, and then Virgo is ruler is Mercury. And Venus, the ruler, Taurus has Venus as its ruler, and Libra has Venus as its ruler. You know, you think of these signs. Okay, so we'll back up a little bit. You know, the sun, or Leo, is magnanimous. Roar, you know, it's just on stage. It's at the end of summer. You know, I mean, the middle of summer, where it's just, you know, in its glory, and it's hot, and it's putting out, and it's just that outward energy, and that's Leo. And the moon is, you know, want to be nurtured and by water, and to do with family and emotions, and the cool side of that, when that's the moon. Gemini is mental, you know, it's thinking and it's analyzing, and that's the signs, you know, Mercury. So Gemini and Virgo are both mental signs, and Mercury is that planet of mental. It's right there by the sun. So it's it manifests as Gemini is like the twins, that mind, the busyness, and then Virgo, the Mercury part of that is its details, its analytical side. So it kind of goes deeper in the Virgo, the mind, but it goes wider in the Gemini. But they're still mental. You know, it's like being analytical and keeping track of all this stuff. You know, that Virgo stuff is very, very mental. And then the Venus is that those things that we like You know, and we like our things. Taurus, you know, it's possessions, your stuff, your food, and then your partner, you know, the Libra side of it. That's, you know, kind of the Venusian, very Venusian things. And then Mars, ruler Aries, that outward energy, initiating, pioneer-like. And then Jupiter, actually I can say also Scorpio should be there too, and this chart is not here. So, you know, because its co-ruler there is Scorpio. And then Jupiter, it originally was, you know, it rules Sagittarius, but then it was before Neptune, it ruled Pisces. So we can think about it that way. And then Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and then also Aquarius. So I wish I had that other chart. Maybe here it is actually. Let me show you on this one. Go back. Okay, so if we're looking at it this way, this is really cool. So here's the sun and the moon. So we've got moon here, Gemini, and let's see, where do I want to have you? Look over here. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so Cancer in the moon right here on the number 4, fourth house, or the 4th spot. And then you're going to look 1, 2, 3, starting from here, Aries, Mars. I should have said that. We're going to start counting 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. So between these 2 spots, 4 and 5, here's our sun and the moon, where we were just saying the rulership. So sun, moon, and then we have Mercury, there, Gemini, that we were just saying. And then we have, look at Mercury with Virgo over here. And then we go out and we go Venus, natural ruler of Taurus, and it's also the natural ruler of Libra. Look over here. And then Mars, and then Scorpio, and then Jupiter. Here we have Pisces and Sagittarius. Boom, boom. And then the last one, Saturn, and we have Aquarius and Capricorn. So again, these are the traditional rulers. And look how nice and neat that is. Okay, so those are the rulers, and that's why it falls into that way. Those are the rulers. Now, we're going to go up to the top and start at the beginning. That was the prelude and then the end. So I wanted you to see it that way. So here it is, each planet. Okay, we're just talking about the dignitaries. We just showed the chart. I'm just going to show it again. Okay, we have this chart talking about each, you know, planet, sun, moon has its rulership, and we're just going to talk about these ones right now. We're not going to talk about the outer ones. So this is the chart. We're going to go over this. So we just said that they, you know, the ruler, like the ruler of Leo is the sun, the ruler of Cancer is the moon, the Leo, you know, ruler of Libra is Venus, ruler of Aries, Mars. And here's the chart again that shows that. Now I want to show you something really cool. I'm going to go to the beginning, and we're going to see that here, Aries and Mars. You see the symbol for Mars right there, and then you see Taurus and Venus, and then you see Gemini and Mercury, and you see Cancer and the moon and Leo and the sun, right, all the way around. I'll just say them. Okay, we've got Virgo and we've got Mercury, and then look at those two right there, boom, 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 boom. Mercury rules that, Mercury rules that. And then we had the Venus ones there, and then Venus ones here. Venus rules Libra. And then we had the Aries ones, and then Aries one here, Scorpio. And look at it's the co-rulers. That's what's on the inside is the co-rulers. So look at if we had Aries ruled by Mars, and then its co-ruler is Pluto. And then over here, Pluto and Mars, you know, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, and Mars is the co-ruler. But they had the traditional, actually, so we're going to put them that way. These are the later ones, and look how they fit in there. And then we have Jupiter, and Jupiter here, and Jupiter was both the ruler of Sagittarius and the traditional ruler of Pisces. But then look at the modern ruler they put here, and then the co-ruler, and then here the last two are the Saturn ruled ones. And it was the traditional ruler of Aquarius, but now they put, since they discovered Uranus, it's there. Okay, so those are the rulers. All right, now, dignities, the home or the ruler. It's either way. You're going to say the ruler of the sign or the home, either one. Okay, so at this place, like again, think of of all of those rulers. So if the sun, you know, the Leo's ruler is the sun, okay? So Cancer's ruler is the moon, okay? Keep all that in your head. So the home is the most fluid and authentic placement, the most fluid and authentic placements found when the planets are in their ruling signs. Their expression is completely uninhibited and raw. It's like being at home. You know, your home is your home. You feel comfortable in your home. You can leave stuff laying out. You can leave, you know, have it the way you want it, the right colors. If you want to make your bed, you can. If you don't want to, nobody's going to judge you. It's your home. If you want to leave stuff out on the counter, if you don't want to flush the toilet, whatever, it's your home. That's why you feel comfortable there. Now, the opposite place of the home is something that is in its detriment. All right, well, let me go through here. Let me just give you the next one. So the detriment would be opposite of your home. So if the Leo if the sun is at home in Leo, it's going to be at detriment in Aquarius because they're opposite. See? So the opposite here brings the ability for spiritual growth. So planets that are in detriment, they're opposite. So planets are in their detriment when they're in the sign opposite of their ruling sign. The expression of the planet in these sign is restricted because the energy of the planet is working in the opposite direction of the sign. See, this stuff is really important. We'll look at some charts, but if you've got a nice trine to your sun, but it happens to be in detriment to something, it's going to sour it a little bit. You might be wondering, like, why isn't this really great? You know, I got a trine and then it's got this going on, but it happens maybe to be in the weaker parts. So there's always a reason, and you go, oh, that's why. There's the sour grape, you know, in this. Oh, so this is very interesting to know. Okay, so anyway, when something's in its detriment, it's just the word detriment. Oh, it's in its place that it's got to try harder. You know, it's not comfortable there. It's in its detriment. If the summer, Leo, I'm just going to use that one. If the sun is comfortable in Leo, it's the summer. You know, when it gets to Aquarius, oh, there's no light then. It's the least amount of light. It's going to be like cold and, you know, and it's not going to express itself. You know, Leo is not going to express itself very well at that time of year, that Leo sun. All right, then the next one is when the planet is in its exaltation. And that one was one that always bugged me. What is exaltation? It's exalted. It's lifted up. It feels comfortable and welcomed in these signs. It's an easy fit and creates an atmosphere of where the signs foster the expression of the planets. Special treatment, lifted up. Or it could be arrogance in an angular house. You know, instead of just being lifted up, it gets arrogant. The highest ideal or CEO quality, exalted degrees also exist within each sign. So something exalted, it's like, say you and your best friend, you guys like a lot of the same things, you have a lot of the same habits, and when you go visit that person, you feel comfortable in their home. You know, it's like you've known them a long time. You can lay your dirty underwear down and they're not going to say anything. You can leave the milk out and they're not going to scream at you, or, you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whatever, I'm just being funny. But it feels comfortable, but it's still not your house. So it's closed, but it's not your house. So planets in exaltation are good. They're lifted up. They're in great second place, but it's not your home. But it's also like an honored guest too. So maybe the friend goes out of their way and pampers you and lifts you up and makes sure you got everything and doesn't matter. And oh, you just spilled something on, grape juice on my white carpet. That's okay. It's all right. I'll deal with it. You know, you're just an honored guest there. So, you know, it's cool, but it's not your home. And then there's something that's in its fall. Okay, fall is now opposite the exaltation. So really you just got to remember the rulerships and then where they're exalted. And then each one is the, opposite is the bad one. So the rulerships opposite is the detriment. And the exalted, uplifting, its opposite is the fall. Okay, so planets in their fall, it's found in the sign opposite of its exaltation. So there's a sense of inappropriateness, awkwardness felt within the people when expressing these planets through these signs. yeah, it just doesn't quite feel right. You know, it's like you just put something on, you know, we get clothes on, you just don't feel right that day. It just doesn't feel comfortable. And you're just like, ah, ah, you know, so it's like, I don't want to wear that. I don't want to wear the polyester suit. I don't want to wear the mask. I don't want to wear the headgear. No. So, it's, you know, it's just off. So keep this in mind. We're gonna, you know, keep these things in mind. So like what I'm gonna do, like if I'm, you know, it's like I've got, you know, I'm gonna go look at any of the Leo stuff in my chart and then see if there's, you know, things that are detriment, or, you know, or see if Cancer things, see where it's at. It's like, okay, if I have anything in Leo, I'm gonna look and see if any of those fall in there. Then there's something that when they're not any of those, it's called peregrine. I'll show you that later, but that's where it's not in any of that, because that, you know, that these are only 4 things, you know, but there's more places that they could be. All right, so let's go over what these are all about. And I'm going to show you the opposites because I think it's easier to learn this way. So I'm going to show you the rulership and the detriment. So it just to me, it just sticks in your brain a little bit easier. So, Sun, ruled by Leo. The most authentic expression of ego is experienced when the sun is in Leo. The ego is expressed authentically with the brilliant force of the sun when it is in Leo. It's like, roar, yeah, yeah, baby. And when the sun is in Aquarius, it's in its detriment. A restricted expression of the ego is found when the sun is in Aquarius. Aquarius need to think of the group's rules and needs before thinking of themselves. It's opposite the sun's need to shine and express the ego. Isn't that interesting? So if you look at Leo sun people, and then, you know, you can apply these things in all of the other signs too. But if you look at the Leo sun people, they're loud, they're magnanimous usually, they're out there a bit. Even if they're shy, they still have some way to make you look at them or notice them maybe. And when the sun is in Aquarius, these people are more group oriented. You know, they're more broad-minded. And here, this is perfect. They need to think of the group's rules before thinking of themselves. It's like, these are the people that go, you're not doing something or other. oh, excuse me, you know. That's hard to do. Okay, next one, moon. The moon is ruled by Cancer. It's the most authentic expression of nurturing and emotion is experienced when the moon is in Cancer. See, and this can go on also every month. It's like not only, you may not have it in your chart, you may not have the moon in any of these things, but every month when the moon is in Cancer, you know, this happens. So you can go, oh, this is where there's going to be more emotion and nurturing. You know, that's Cancer's way of experiencing life. The moon feels at home expressing its nurturing ways and experiencing emotion when in Cancer. That might be the time of the month that you go, oh, honey, can you, can you, whatever, fill in the blank. Okay. The moon is in its detriment when it's in Capricorn. So the moon, we're talking about the moon's rulership. And we're going, again, the moon, or each one is going to be, the ruler is where it's strong, and then the opposite will be in its detriment. So when the moon is in its detriment, it's in Capricorn. And you know, that moon is in that expansive, nurturing, nice Cancer. And then when it's in Capricorn, it's going to get restricted. It's going to, that expression of nurturing and emotion is going to be restricted when the moon is in Capricorn. Capricorns need to be the strong, hardworking, serious father of the zodiac is opposite of the moon's need to nurture and experience emotions. So women need to be, you know, it's like, what if you've got a moon in Capricorn? You think you're going to be the most nurturing mother? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on where it's placed. What if it were in the 4th house? That would offset it a little bit, wouldn't it? So you'd have an inclination to not be that doting and nurturing. This would be the mother that might be like working really hard to put you through school. It wouldn't be the one making you cookies and having your lunches ready and doing the crock pot. or, you know, it wouldn't be the mother making, excuse me, doing that heavy voice. I shouldn't do that. So this mother would be, this wouldn't be the one maybe doing all the parties for you and toting you around. This would be the hardworking mom. But if this moon now were in the 4th house of Cancer, that would offset the detriment of being a Capricorn a little bit. So this is all these little push-pull things that I'm going to try to point out as we go. I'm sorry, I'm coughing. I shouldn't do those heavy voices, but they're fun. Okay, Mercury, ruled by its home. Okay, so we've said before that it has, you know, it's got to be shared by 2 signs. So when it's in either of those, the most authentic expression of analytical thought and ability to communicate is experienced when Mercury is in Gemini or Virgo. The thought processes and communications are seamless when Mercury is in Gemini or Virgo. And again, you can use this for, you know, the time of the month. So if you have to be thinking through or being aware of a lot of thoughts, or being more broad-minded on thinking, you might be, you know, when it's in Gemini. And then maybe monthly when the moon is in Virgo, you might get into being real detailed and analytical and really diving into being all task-oriented like that. People that have this natally, or if you're moving into some of this by progression, it's going to amplify this quality. Okay, so Mercury is in its detriment when in Aries and Scorpio. A restricted expression of sensuality and beauty is experienced when Venus is in Aries or in Scorpio. I noticed Hillary Clinton's chart, she's got Venus in Scorpio. Need I say more? In the 1st house. Aries house in Scorpio. Ew. That's like, okay, Aries and Scorpio's needs to exert their will and gain power are opposite of Venus's need to be polite, sensual, and enjoy beauty. Why do you think Bill was the way he was? I'm just being funny, but there's some truth to that. Okay, Mars, ruled by Aries and Scorpio. The most authentic expression of the power and will is found when Mars is in Aries or in Scorpio. These 2 signs never back down from a challenge or battle. Mars seeks power and control in a direct and unfiltered manner when it is in Scorpio or Aries. When Mars it's in its detriment when it's in Taurus or Libra. I mean, really think about that. A restricted expression, power and will is found when Mars is in Libra or Taurus. So, well, I'll just read it and I'll tell you. So Libra and Taurus need to be polite, sensual, and enjoy beauty. And that's the opposite of Mars's need for power and to express its will. And then again, Libra is all about others. Mars wants to be climbing up the mountain in the battle for others, you know, but it still wants to be engaged. And then it wants to be busy and doing. It doesn't want to be sitting there in Taurus just languiding. It's going to be just sitting there going, it's all this nervous energy just ready to go. So it's just not going to it's not going to be happy in that sign. Now think also the house placements as well. So again, I pointed out the one before when we were talking about the moon, but Mars, if it's in the 2nd house, it's not going to be as powerful, or if it's in the 7th house as well. Or it's going to take on more of the tone of the partner, or, you know, that's going to maybe be, yes, dear, one of those. So it's interesting to just, you have to compare all these. So astrology is amazing. You know, it's just multi-leveled and it's very detailed, and you just have to, you can only look at so much at a time of this. But, you know, the first thing is just to kind of get your mind around your chart, or somebody's chart, where everything is, and kind of just what sort of means this. And then you can just, you see where some things don't seem as what, it's like, well, this one didn't really say that. That didn't mean that, you know, it's mine. It wasn't quite like that. Now you see why. All right. Jupiter, ruled by Sagittarius and then Pisces, the older ruler Pisces. The most authentic expression of freedom and boundlessness is found when Jupiter is in Sag or Pisces. Jupiter's at home when it's in the 2 signs that relish in going beyond limits and boundaries. Okay, loves that expansion. It can just stay. Yeah, there's a little bit of the difference of these two. Sagittarius, it's, you know, it's that beyond, it's that looking beyond, it's that hope. It's kind of like temperance. It's the star as well. It's that hope, and it's that balance, and it's that looking beyond. And then Pisces looks below for the same thing. It's like that veil behind that spirituality, which is kind of the same thing. It's that expansiveness, but it's in a different direction. So Jupiter detriment, when it's in Gemini or Virgo, Jupiter's not happy there. See, Jupiter's wanting to be expansive, and it's not going to be happy dealing with details or all kinds of stuff. It wants to amplify one thing right there, not everything. So a restricted expression of Jupiter's boundless universal thinking is found when Jupiter's in Gemini or Virgo. Gemini and Virgo's need to analyze and communicate details and facts is opposite Jupiter's boundless universal thinking. Now Saturn ruling Capricorn and Aquarius, the most authentic expression of structure and rules is found when Saturn is in Capricorn or Aquarius. Now this is what we're going to get into now, or what we're getting into right now as a culture. We're still, you know, we're going from, I think I talked about this the last week or the last couple times, about the time we're in and the squares that were happening, these transits that we're going through. We've got these cycles that are coming around. You know, we've got these cycles, what the Pluto-Saturn cycle, the Pluto-Jupiter cycle, I'm sorry, Saturn-Jupiter, there we go, those two. The Saturn-Jupiter cycle, but then it's also coalescing with Pluto, all three of them. But Saturn and Jupiter are right there, and we're going from the square of that, the conjunction where they're both together, the conjunct in Capricorn, and they're moving in what about that, 17th and then through the 19th of December, they're going to move into Aquarius together, one day apart. So they're going to be within orb. They're squaring each other now at the end degrees, and those are all critical degrees as well. You know, the end of signs, the 28th, the 29th. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Those degrees are very, very auspicious, very interesting. So they're crossing that, and then they're going to carry that square into Aquarius. So it goes from Capricorn, remember that's cardinal Earth, and then going into fixed air. That's something to ponder a little bit, which we'll talk about. So the most authentic expression of structure is found when Saturn's in Capricorn or Aquarius. These signs respect boundaries and limits. I don't know why it says Uranus there. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, okay, so that was the traditional ruler there. I mean, the modern ruler. Uranus feels at home accommodating structure when it is in Capricorn or Aquarius. I did that say that on me. I'll change it later. Anyway, Saturn detriment is in Leo and Cancer. Cancer and Leo does not feel comfortable when, you know, Saturn is all about boundaries and rules, and then it's, you know, it's going to be nice and homey and everything. It's like, no. So a restricted expression of Saturn's need for structure and rules is found when Saturn is in Cancer or Leo. Their need for raw, authentic expression of emotion and behavior is opposite Capricorn's attention to rules and restrictions. Totally. All right. Planets in exaltation and fall. Now, the exaltation was like being at your best friend's house. You know, it's like you guys are similar in a lot of ways. You know, you have the same habits and you feel really comfortable, but it's not your house. And then the fall is just, you just don't fit in at all. So we'll go through these in this. So the sun, when it's in Aries, is exalted. If it can't be in Leo, its second choice would be in Aries. So it's a comfortable and easy expression of the ego is found when the sun is in Aries. Aries' forthright and daring nature fosters the sun's need to shine and proudly expresses the ego. That works. Okay, and then when it's in Libra, which is going to be opposite, we said these are always going to be opposite. I'm giving you the opposites like this. So when it's in its fall, the sun is, when the sun is in Libra, it is in its fall. There we go. An awkward expression of the ego is found when the sun is in Libra. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy the sun's need to express its ego through Libra, whose need is to be polite, considerate, and always balance its needs with the needs of others. So you can see why it's in its fall. I mean, it doesn't make it bad, but you can just see that, you know, Librans put a lot of other people's needs first. You know, other people's needs. You know, they're considerate. They think about that. They think about balancing stuff. You know, where an Aries sun or a Leo sun is not. You know, they think of either pioneering through, busting through a new battle. Just, you know, a whole different point of view. And again, think of these like if you have a sun in Libra, look and see what house it's in. If it's in the 7th house, that's the natural house of Libra, that's gonna exemplify it. I mean, it's gonna make it more. But what if it was in the 1st house? That would offset it a little bit and make it, give it a bit more Aries to it. It would kind of diminish a little bit of that Libra energy. So put that in. You got to look at that when you look at now, when you go back and look at where the planets are, the sun and moon in your chart. So, you know, so taking on like, okay, my sun is in Aries. All right. Okay, so that's in Aries. Okay, so that's going to be exalted, and that makes it more strong, and that's good. And is it in a place? Is it in the place in the chart that's going to keep on that ride? Where is it? Like in my chart, I have the sun in Aries, and it's in the 9th house. It's in the house of Sagittarius. So that would naturally be, that would work because that would be that fire energy. So that gets along. If it were in the 10th house, you know, that would start to square that, and it would maybe make me be way more business oriented. It's really close to that point where it goes over to it, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's in the 9th house. So you have to look at yours that way. Okay, moon, it's exalted in Taurus. It's comfortable. It's easy expressing the nurturing and emotion is experienced when the moon is in Taurus. It's comfortable there. It's kind of, you know, it's just 2 houses down. Yeah, it feels good. Taurus, careful, patient, and sensual nature easily accommodates the moon's expression of nurturing and emotion. And the moon is, it's in its fall when it's in Scorpio. It's an awkward expression of the nurturing and emotion is found when the moon is in Scorpio. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy the moon's need to nurture and express emotion through Scorpio, whose need is to gain power and control. Yeah, interesting. Mercury, it's exalted in Virgo. A comfortable and easy expression of analytic thought and ability to communicate is experienced when Mercury is in Virgo. Mercury's attention to detail and abilities, analytical abilities foster, did I say Mercury? I meant Virgo's attention to detail and analytical abilities foster Mercury's need to intellectualize and to communicate. And it's in its fall in Pisces. Mercury is not going to be very strong mentally if it's in Pisces. It's going to want to feel more, but it's going to be forced to think, and it can't. An awkward expression of analytic thought and ability to communicate is found when Mercury is in Pisces. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy Mercury's need to think analytically and communicate details precisely through Pisces, whose need is for boundless, universal emotional experience. Now, what if you have a Mercury in the 12th house in Pisces? You think that person is going to be easy to talk to? You think they're going to be a real good communicator? They're going to feel more. They're going to think. They may be very empathic, you know, may pick up on stuff, but they may not be able to communicate it. Okay. Venus is exalted in Pisces. A comfortable and easy expression of sensuality and beauty is experienced when Venus is in Pisces. Pisces' romantic and sensitive ways foster Venus's need for beauty and sensuality. Okay, that makes sense. All right, Venus is in its fall in Virgo. It's like, honey, can you do that? Would you? An awkward awkward expression of sensuality and beauty is found when Venus is in Virgo. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy Venus's need for sensuality and beauty through Virgo, whose need is to be precise and practical. Yeah. You can just see this again and look at the house. Now, what if we put, okay, say, how about this complication here? What if we have Venus in Virgo in the 8th house? Now we're going to mix some sex in there and some deep transformations. Okay. This is why astrology is so fun. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. A comfortable and easy expression of the power and will is found when Mars is in Capricorn. Capricorn's willingness to struggle with seemingly endless uphill battles fosters Mars' need to exert its will and gain power. Mars's fall is in Cancer. It doesn't want to be sitting there nurturing. An awkward expression is of exertion power and will is found when Mars is in Cancer. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy Mars's need to exert its will and power through Cancer, whose need is to nurture and experience emotion. Okay. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. A comfortable and easy expression of a need for growth and expansion is found when Jupiter is in Cancer. Cancer's need to care and nurture and help is helped by Jupiter's need for boundless growth and expansion. Jupiter is its fall in Capricorn. An awkward expression of boundless universal experience and thinking is found when Jupiter is in Capricorn. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy Jupiter's need for boundless universal experience and thinking through Capricorn, whose need is for structure and boundaries. So this is one of the things happening now. It's like, we have Jupiter is in Capricorn. It's in its fall. It's just not happy there. It's going to move, to Aquarius. Should be interesting. Okay, Saturn is exalted in Libra. A comfortable and easy expression of structure and rules is found when Saturn is in Libra. Libra's need to exhibit polite, considerate behavior while balancing its needs with the needs of others is fostered by Saturn's sense of rules and structure. Okay, that's interesting. So Saturn is its fall in Aries. So it was interesting that Aries, is the other way around. An awkward expression of adhering to structures, rules, and boundaries is found when Saturn is in Aries. It feels awkward and inappropriate to satisfy Saturn's need for structure, rules, and boundaries through Aries, whose need is to exert its will and be independent. All right. So I've started to mention before a peregrine planet. That's when a planet is not in any of them in the chart as the rulership, exaltation, detriment, or fall. All astrologers dispute the state of peregrine planets. This author sees them as neutral in terms of essential dignity, leaving them only subject to their accidental dignity. All right, here is the table. Oh, you see this here. So we said, okay, Sun, Moon, Mercury, just going down in order out from the Sun. And then here's the signs. And now, so we go rulership and it's detriment. Boom, boom. You should draw that little thing like that. And then exaltation, fall. Because think of exalted being lifted up and fall is coming down. And then just check one of them, and see if it's the opposite. Aries, the opposite is Libra. Yes. So you don't go Aries, Aquarius. Nope, that's not opposite. It's got to be this way. There's the opposite. And then Leo, opposite. No, it's not Aries. Leo's opposite is Aquarius. Leo's opposite is not Libra. It's Aquarius. Okay, there we go. They're sort of that way. And to see this here, and I'll go over this one more time. Again, now after you've gone through it. So we have the moon rules, we have the moon in Cancer, and then we have the sun in Leo. These are for the rulers. And then we would have Mercury. Now go on one side of either one of those. So Mercury is on either one. See, now we're going to go out from the sun. See, this is so cool. So these planets are going out from the sun, but we're going to just put the moon here because, we're on the earth. So anyway, sun, moon, but we're going to say moon, sun, and then look at Mercury, Mercury, And both of those Mercury planets right next to, you know, like the sun, moon, you know, Mercury rules Gemini and Mercury rules Virgo. Look at that. And then we're going to go out from there. We got the Venus one, and Venus here, and then Venus over here. So we got 2nd and 7th. And look at Venus rules Taurus, Venus rules Libra. We're going to go out again. Now we have Mars, and we have Scorpio. Over here, Aries. Aries rules Mars, Scorpio, Mars. So Mars has got 2 spots. Mars and Aries, Mars and Scorpio. Again, these are traditional rulers. And then we got Jupiter here and here, Jupiter and Sag, and then Jupiter was the original ruler of Pisces. And then the last 2, Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn rules Saturn. I'm sorry, Saturn rules Capricorn, and it was the traditional ruler of Aquarius. Look at that. So the exaltations, the way they figured that out is very interesting. It has to do with planets. There are diurnal planets, and there's nocturnal planets, and they, you know, some of them. I'll get into this deeper because it's kind of worth going through a lot of this. But certain planets rise before the sun. Those are the diurnal ones, and then certain planets set after the sun. Those are the nocturnal ones. So it's interesting. Let me just tell you those. So the diurnal, well, I think I might take you down too much down another road, but just know that there are some planets that rise in front of the sun, ahead of it, and then and you can think of it, they're probably going to be ones that are close to the sun. I got to give you a little astronomy here. So one that would rise before, you would think a planet that could rise before the sun would be Mercury. You should be thinking, everybody should have thought that. Mercury, yes, because it's so close to the sun. Remember, it's never more than one planet either side of the sun. So it's going to be, it could at certain times of the year rise before the sun. And we'll have to talk about that sometime, and that we can talk about its retrograde cycle, when it's not seen, and where that's at. That's all very fascinating. But then, yeah, so that's interesting. And then there's planets that are visible when the sun sets. So the sun would set, and then they're still within that, like a magic 15 degrees. You can still see them once the sun's rays has gone down. You can see the planets. So those are nocturnal planets. All right, now I'm going to share one more thing with you. There are exalted degrees, and these are good to know. You might want to write these down. And they're rounded up. So there's, because the sun is exalted in Aries, there's a certain degree where it's even more exalted. So it's like, not only is it whole sign, but if you have something it's like 18 degrees, 56 minutes, but I mean, it's really close. So if you're either within 2 degrees of that, you're going to have that exalted degree of Aries. So say, well, it's just whatever is close to that. So sun at 19 Aries is the exalted degree. The moon in 3 degrees Taurus. So say your moon's 3 degrees Taurus. It's like, you got an exalted moon. Or, that time of the month is also very interesting to know, when the moon is at that time. Okay, Mercury at 15 degrees Virgo, that's an exalted degree. Sort of magic degrees. If you have any of these, just, pat yourself on the back. Good job. Venus is exalted, or there's a degree, exalted degree at 27 Pisces. Venus at 27 Pisces. Mars at 28 Capricorn. Jupiter at 15 degrees Cancer, and Saturn at 21 Libra. These are kind of magic degrees of being extra exalted. And that's very, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, I'm going to just go back up here and then let you see that. This all of these planets here are lining up with what they rule. So here's just the moon and the sun. Look at the moon down here in Cancer, sun in Leo, and then here we've got both of we've got the Mercury planets and what they rule, and we've got the Venus planets and what they rule, And there's our Mars planets, what they rule, and then there's the newest one they put in because, you know, we found Pluto, so we're going to be a co-ruler, one of them. There's Jupiter, doop, 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 and there's Saturn, boom, boom, boom. All right. So go back and see if there's any questions. If y'all got that, I think it's pretty cool stuff just to know that. So homework, you know, go check your chart now. Go look at all your planets, you know, and see if they're in any of the, you know, see if it's in exalted, or see if it's in its detriment, or its fall, or it's a, you know, its home sign. Note that, and then look at the house as well. And then that will see if it's, you know, is it in an exalted house? Or is it in a house that's at the planet, or that's in its fall? And then just, you know, maybe you give yourself a little rating system, you know, a little plus for a little bit more and a little minus for it kind of downs it. So it will make, it's going to further flavor your chart. So not only might you have sun in Aries, okay, it's exalted there, but where is it? Is it in a debilitated house? Is it going to dampen that a little bit? Or is it nothing? You know, it's not in any of it. Or is it something that's like, what if it's in the 5th house? Then it's in its home house. Say it's in Aries, but it's in the 5th house. So it would be, say, sun in Aries, it's in the exaltedness of the sun, where the sun's exalted, but then it's in the 5th house, which is the natural place of the sun. So that would be kind of good, you know. What if the sun were in Leo in the 5th house? That would be even more intense, right? About what if the sun was in Aquarius in the 11th house? That would be like a double downer, right? Because it's in its detriment and in Aquarius, and then the 11th house is Aquarius, so that would be like kind of two of those. Or what if it, okay, say the sun was in Aquarius, which is its detriment, in the 7th house, which is where it would be its fall. So what do you think that person is going to be dealing with this lifetime? You know, the sun in its detriment in the house of its fall. You don't think that the person's going to have some stuff with the relationship issues? You know, when we look at a chart, we got to look at themes. You know, those planets are actors, you know, it's a play, you know, the whole thing is a play, and the planet are actors, and there's you know, the signs are the scenes, you know, that's going on. So where are the actors and what is the scene? You know, that's your story. Very, very, very cool. Very interesting. All right, I don't see no questions, so I'm gonna end off this because this was quite a bit of stuff. I think hopefully I made some sense of it, and there's reasons why it is like this. I hit off on it on the first level by showing you how they stretched out along the chart, but the reason they're like that has to do with the diurnal and nocturnal qualities of certain planets, and how they're rising before the sun or setting after, and the distance that they are apart. Because if you look at some of these, I'll give you a hint. Some of these, you know, like the ruler, like say Leo, okay, the sun in Leo, and then let's just take the Leo, you know, like I mentioned that you got to memorize the rulers, and then you have to memorize the exalted, then you'll remember everything else. But say Leo, what's the distance from Leo to Aquarius? You should automatically know they're both fire signs, and that would be a trine. Okay, so they're trine apart. Now look at the moon. What's the distance from Cancer to Taurus? 60, it's a sextile. All right, so we've got a trine and a sextile on the sun and the moon. And then let's look at, okay, so now Mercury. So what's the distance from say Gemini to Virgo? What's going on there? So we got Gemini. I'm losing my lighting here, I'm sorry. So we've got a mutable sign to another mutable sign, right? So that would be a square. Now, how about Virgo to Pisces? You know, because we're going to take that, I'm sorry, Virgo to Virgo, that would be the exalted sign. So it's the same sign. And Mercury's that way because it's neutral. because it does stay so close to the sun. Let's just do a couple more. Look, the distance of these. Look at Venus. Let's look at its ruler's Taurus, and let's look at Taurus to Pisces. We're at another sextile, right? That's 2 signs away. And then how about Libra to Pisces? That's interesting. The other side. And then let's see, what do we got here? Libra, Pisces. So we got an inconjunct. And then Aries. Okay, we got Aries, Mars. So we got Mars, we got Aries going to Capricorn. There's a square. All right, and then we've got Jupiter. We got Sagittarius going to Cancer. And we've got a strange one there. We got another inconjunct. Okay, so anyway, okay, one more. Capricorn going to Libra. That would be another square. Okay, so certain ones are squares, and that has to do with the diurnal and the nocturnal planets. But I just wanted to point out that they're a little different like that. When I was first trying to look at this, I was like, this does not make sense. I try to analyze it, you know, and it didn't make sense because they're different. I'm like, nope, there's no rule of thumb here. So there is a little reason, but it has to do with the rising before and after the setting of the sun. All right, I'm losing my light here, but I guess that's it. If nobody has any questions, I'm going to end off. So go look at your planets. Go look at Uranus. I didn't even go with that one. I'm just being silly. All right, y'all have a good night and hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.